Who you choose to live with after 70, it matters more than most people realize. It's not just about who helps around the house or who's nearby. It's about how you feel in your own home. Do you feel safe? Respected? Seen? Or do you feel like you're just existing beside someone who barely notices you anymore? The truth is, at this stage in life, the people around you can either lift your spirit or quietly wear it down. And it doesn't always happen loudly. Sometimes, it's in the small things, a dismissive tone, a conversation you weren't invited into, or a silence that feels more lonely than peaceful. That's why this video isn't about who's the easiest to live with, or whose family. It's about choosing people who protect your peace. People who add comfort to your days instead of stress. Who remind you you're still important, not because of what you do, but because of who you are. So in today's video, I want to share 5 types of people that older adults over 70 should consider living with. Not because it's convenient. Not because you don't have other options. But because your well-being, your emotional and physical health, deserves to come first now. Before we start, I'd love to know, where are you watching from today? Just drop your state or city in the comments below. And if you have any natural health tips of your own, feel free to share those too. Someone else might really benefit from hearing what's worked for you. Point 1, the listener. Living with someone who truly listens to you can change everything. Not just someone who hears you while scrolling on their phone or waiting for their turn to speak, but someone who listens with their full attention, with patience, and with care. That kind of person doesn't just make the room feel warmer, they make you feel alive again. When you're over 70, it's easy to feel like your words don't carry the same weight anymore. Maybe doctors rush you during appointments. Maybe your family checks in but never really slows down to ask how you're really doing. Or maybe you find yourself repeating stories just to fill the silence. And that silence? It can get heavy. But when you live with someone who listens, really listens, it tells you that your thoughts matter. That your experiences still hold value. That your voice still belongs in the conversation. And that feeling, of being heard, is powerful. It feeds your spirit and gives your mind the message, you still matter. Studies in geriatric care have shown that older adults who feel listened to and respected in everyday conversations are less likely to suffer from depression or anxiety. They sleep better. They even recall memories more clearly. Why? Because being heard keeps your mind engaged and your heart steady. It reminds you that you're still part of life's rhythm. And the benefits aren't just emotional. Being listened to lowers stress levels. It helps regulate blood pressure. It even supports better brain function. All because your body responds to how you're treated. When you're ignored, your body feels it. But when someone makes space for your words, your entire system relaxes. You don't need someone who agrees with you all the time. You don't need someone who fixes every problem. You just need someone who listens with respect, with presence, and with kindness. Someone who doesn't rush you, interrupt you, or dismiss your thoughts. Because in a home where you're truly heard, you feel safe. You feel steady. You feel like your presence still matters. So if you're thinking about who to live with now, or even who to spend more time with, ask yourself, does this person make space for my voice? Do I feel heard? If the answer is yes, then you've found someone who brings not just comfort, but dignity. And that's something worth holding on to. Point 2, the encourager. After 70, one of the most meaningful kinds of people you can have in your home is the one who believes in you, right now. Not the version of you from years ago. Not just the memories of what you used to do. But the you that exists today. The encourager is someone who notices the light in your eyes when you talk about something you love. They remember the hobbies you used to enjoy, the skills you've gathered over a lifetime. And instead of letting those things fade into the background, they gently bring them back into your life. They do it without pushing. Without pressure. Just little nudges that remind you you're still capable of learning, creating, laughing, and growing. You see, when the world treats aging like a slow decline, it becomes easy to start believing it yourself. People say things like, take it easy, or, don't overdo it, and while that comes from a place of care, it can also start to feel like you're being told to stop trying. To stop living. That kind of thinking can slowly shrink your world until your days become smaller and smaller. But when you live with an encourager, that changes. They remind you that there's still room for joy. For trying something new. For laughing so hard you lose track of time. That reminder isn't just comforting, it's healing. And there's actual science to back this up. Older adults who are surrounded by positive, encouraging people tend to move more, think more clearly, and even live longer. Encouragement reduces stress hormones. It strengthens the immune system. It keeps the heart and the mind engaged. Because emotional support isn't just about feeling good, it has real, physical benefits. I'll tell you something else, encouragers don't need to make big speeches. Sometimes, it's just someone saying, I love how you light up when you talk about your garden, or, you always make the best apple pie, can you show me how? Little moments like that remind you that your gifts still matter. That you're still needed. That you still bring something to the table. So, if you're thinking about who to live with, or even who to spend more time around, ask yourself, do they make me feel alive? Do they help me remember the parts of me I've put aside? Because living with someone who encourages you is not about avoiding age. It's about embracing life. And that mindset can turn ordinary days into something truly beautiful. Point 3, the quiet companion. There's something deeply comforting about sharing space with someone who doesn't need to fill every silence with words. Someone who's just there. Not demanding anything from you. Not trying to fix your day. Just offering steady, quiet company. That's the kind of presence that becomes more valuable than gold after 70. This person might not talk much, but their presence speaks volumes. You don't have to entertain them, explain yourself, or keep up appearances. You can just be. And for many older adults, that kind of peaceful companionship brings more healing than conversation ever could. In a world that constantly moves fast, where people are always on their phones or jumping from one thing to the next, being with someone who knows how to slow down with you is a gift. It reminds you that your worth isn't tied to how much you do, it's simply in who you are. Research shows that seniors who live in calm, emotionally safe environments tend to experience less anxiety, sleep better, and have stronger heart health. And it makes sense. Our nervous systems respond to the energy around us. When you live with someone who brings stillness, your body finds its own rhythm again. Your thoughts quiet down. You breathe easier. You don't need a cheerleader all the time. Sometimes, you just need someone to sit with you during your morning coffee, to watch the birds out the window, or to share a moment of silence without it feeling awkward. A quiet companion makes that kind of stillness feel like a safe place instead of a lonely one. Let me tell you something important, this kind of connection doesn't always come from a spouse or a child. It could be an old friend. A cousin. Even a neighbor. Or yes, sometimes, a pet. What matters isn't how often they speak. It's how they make you feel when they're around. So ask yourself, who brings calm into my space? Who can I sit beside without feeling like I have to be anything other than myself? Because in this chapter of life, peace is not a luxury. It's a need. And a quiet companion doesn't just give you company. They give your soul a place to rest. Point 4, the practical helper. At this stage in life, it's not always the big things that wear you down, it's the little ones. The trash that needs taking out. The appointment you almost forgot. The medicine that's due at noon. Over time, these small tasks can quietly become overwhelming. That's why having a practical helper in your life can make a world of difference. This isn't someone who talks a lot about how much they care. They show it instead. They fix the loose step. They carry in the groceries. They notice the burnt-out light bulb and replace it before you even ask. It might not sound like much, but these quiet acts of service bring ease, dignity, and comfort into your daily routine. The practical helper doesn't take over your life. They're not there to control you or treat you like you can't do anything. They're there to lighten the load, so your time and energy can go toward things that actually bring you joy, not stress. One of the hardest things about growing older is accepting that your body doesn't move quite the way it used to. That's a fact. But accepting help doesn't mean you're giving up your independence. In fact, the right kind of help protects your independence. Because when you're not exhausted by chores or worrying about how to get something done, you have more space to enjoy the parts of life that still make you feel alive. Research backs this up. Older adults who receive consistent, respectful practical support, without judgment, report higher satisfaction with life, fewer hospital visits, and even better mental health. Why? Because they're not burning all their energy on survival tasks. They're living more fully, with more peace of mind. Think about it, when someone quietly takes care of the things that drain you, it doesn't just help your body. It calms your mind. You stop bracing for what might go wrong. You stop dreading the next little problem. You feel supported, seen, and respected. So if you're deciding who to live with, or who to lean on, ask yourself, does this person step in when I need help without making me feel small? Do they make life smoother, not heavier? Because the right kind of help isn't about taking over. It's about walking beside you, offering support in the places you need it most, so you can keep focusing on what matters, your peace, your health, and your joy. Point 5. The positive soul. There's a kind of person who walks into the room and suddenly everything feels lighter. Not because they're loud or overly cheerful, but because their presence brings a sense of hope. Of calm. Of quiet strength. This is the positive soul. And if you're over 70, living with someone like this can make each day feel more livable, no matter what life throws your way. The positive soul isn't someone who ignores problems or pretends life is always perfect. In fact, they've likely faced their fair share of struggles, maybe even more than most. But what sets them apart is how they choose to carry those challenges. They meet hard times with grace. With humor. With a steady voice that says, "We'll get through this." That kind of mindset is powerful. Especially as you grow older and the world around you starts to change faster than you'd like. When your body isn't as reliable. When friends move or pass away. When days sometimes feel too quiet. Having someone close who naturally leans toward hope can act like emotional medicine. It doesn't erase the pain, but it helps you breathe through it. And there's real science behind it. Studies show that seniors exposed to regular doses of emotional positivity, through kind words, laughter, or even just a peaceful attitude, tend to have lower inflammation, stronger immune systems, and sharper thinking over time. That's not magic, it's the human body responding to an environment of safety and emotional ease. But beyond all that, living with a positive soul reminds you that aging isn't just about decline. It's about evolution. Yes, things shift. Yes, you may have to slow down. But that doesn't mean you stop living. It just means you live differently, with more intention, more gentleness, and yes, more appreciation for the small joys. Maybe it's someone who tells you a silly story over breakfast. Or someone who finds the silver lining even on a tough day. Maybe it's a friend who helps you laugh at yourself instead of scolding yourself when you forget something. Those moments may seem small, but they're the ones that help you keep going. So, ask yourself, who helps you feel lighter? Who reminds you that life, even now, is still beautiful? Because after 70, you don't need more noise. You don't need more drama. You need peace, and people who protect it. The positive soul does that just by being who they are, and being near someone like that. It's one of the greatest gifts you can give yourself. By the time we reach 70, life has already taught us so many lessons. We've seen people come and go. We've weathered storms we never expected, and we've carried joys and heartbreaks that shaped who we are. So when it comes to deciding who we share our home with now, it's not just a practical question, it's a deeply personal one. You're not choosing a roommate. You're choosing peace. You're choosing who gets to be part of your quiet mornings, your slow afternoons, your everyday routines that now hold more meaning than ever before. And that choice matters. It matters because the people around you have a real effect on your health, your mood, your memory, and your ability to enjoy each day. It's no longer about who's convenient. It's about who makes you feel safe, respected, and seen. Who listens without judgment. Who encourages you without pressure. Who sits with you in silence. Who shows up to help, not to take control. Who finds the good, even when life feels heavy. And the truth is, you deserve that. You deserve to feel good in your own home. To wake up in a space where you can be yourself without apology. To share your days with someone who reminds you, simply by being there, that life still has beauty left in it. It doesn't have to be perfect. The house doesn't have to be fancy. The plan doesn't have to be flawless. But the people? They matter. So choose people who bring light, not noise. Presence, not pressure. Choose those who help your heart rest, your mind breathe, and your soul stay open to joy. And if you already have someone like that in your life, whether it's family, a friend, or a neighbor, tell them. Thank them. Life's too short to keep appreciation to ourselves. Now I'd love to hear from you. In the comments, share one quality you value most in someone you live with, or someone you'd like to live with one day. Your words might just inspire someone else who needs to hear them. If this video helped you reflect or gave you something to think about, don't forget to like, subscribe, and turn on the bell so you won't miss our future content. Your support means the world to us. Take care of your peace. And take care of the people who protect it. We'll see you next time.